Today we will discuss identification of rocks in hand specimen. You all know in pathology the rocks are collected from the field, means the first observation of the rocks is in the field, that is in situ, in outcrops. There we notice the mega features and bring sample to our laboratory. The sample is around 1 to 2 kg and that we call as an hand specimen. Now today we will discuss the identification of rocks in hand specimen. Means once you bring sample from field to the laboratory and by observation with naked eyes, if we can identify or we try to identify the different textures and the mineral composition and ultimately the rock names. So identification of rocks in hand specimen simply means the identification of those samples of rocks which have been brought from the field to the laboratory. Now you all know that rocks are named on the basis of texture and mineral composition. These are the two criteria to name a rock. As far as texture is concerned, texture is the resultant of the, you can say, of the cooling history of the rock. The plutonic rocks, as they crystallize deep seated, they have coarse grain size. Once we say coarse grain size, means their grains are more than 5 mm in diameter. Whereas rocks which crystallize near the surface or on the surface or of the category of volcanic rocks, they have grain size as fine grained. Fine grained is those which have their grains less than 1 mm in diameter. So broadly speaking, the nature or you can say size of the grains of igneous rocks can be classified as coarse grained, means whose diameter is more than 5 mm, then the medium grained 1 to 5 mm, fine grained less than 1 mm to the extent we can observe with naked eyes or under microscope, and ultimately the zero grain size or the glassy. So these are the first four possible, or you can say four groupings on the basis of the size. So these textural terms, first is on the size, then the shape, and then the combination of shape and size. As far as shape is concerned, if a crystal is well grown in all directions, it is equidimensional or polyhedral crystal, just like your garnet crystals. Whereas if it is better grown in two direction compared to third, they are called as tabular, or you can say the tabular sheets just in micas, they have the tabular shape. Then third is your say where the crystals have better grown in one direction, that is the columnar, for example your hornblende. So on that basis, shape basis, the crystals or the minerals are again classified, and the combination of two, that is on the basis of size and shape, further the textual terms are used. So once you find a rock having grains of equal size and of subhedral shape, subhedral shape means when few faces of it are developed, or you can say half of the faces are developed, half are not developed, they are called subhedral. And if the grains are equal size, to such texture we call as epidiomorphic or granitic texture, because it is very common in the rock granite. Now so this is a textual term. Similarly, if grains are of equal size and shape is euhedral, then it is penidiomorphic. Grains are equal size and shape is anhedral, then this is called heteromorphic. So today we will take one by one and I will try to explain the textures which are observed in different rocks. Now this first one this rock, this I am marking here, this is a rock granite. Now to call a rock a granite, the essential is that it should have epidiomorphic or granitic texture. Granitic texture means grains are almost of same size and they are of saphedral shape. That we can notice through and through in this sample. Right. The second is the mineral composition. The mineral composition, once we say granite, it has quartz and orthoclase as essential mineral. In rocks there are three types of minerals: essential minerals, accessory minerals and secondary minerals. In nomenclature, it is essential minerals on the basis of which a rock is named. Means essential minerals are those which are more than 5% and they contribute a name to the rock. Whereas accessory minerals, they are generally less than 5% and then they don't make any impact, or you can say the contribution into the nomenclature of the rock. And third are the secondary minerals. Means once a rock has formed in last millions of years, due to these natural agencies, they have been decomposed and transformed into secondary minerals. In nomenclature, we use the texture and the essential minerals. So to call a rock granite, this first sample is of granite. It should have epidiomorphic or granitic texture. The grain size is coarse grain, more than 5 mm, that we can very well see with our eyes. And second is that it should have quartz and orthoclase. Now in this sample, you can observe this quartz is white. These are quartz grains, right? So these are quartz, and in also simultaneously the dark ones, they are the mafic. Means your felsic minerals, quartz and orthoclase, they are more than 70%, and the remaining part may be of mafic minerals, which they can be biotite, they can be muscovite, which we observe as this small, relatively small black colored. So this rock granite, right, it has your coarse grain, and in improved textural name it has your epidiomorphic texture, and the minerals that are identified as quartz and orthoclase. Orthoclase is generally pink or flesh colored, but it may even be to your said white, from flesh red to white. And because it is distinguished from your plagioclase feldspars, they have your that lamellar, or you can say the plate shape, latch shape, whereas this your orthoclase is almost, you can say, is a polyhedral in that shape. So this rock is identified on this basis. This is a plutonic rock. It has your coarse grain size, it has epidiomorphic texture, it has quartz orthoclase, hence this is your granite. Right. Now the next rock which is there just adjacent to it, it has more mafic minerals. You can very well see the dark ones, they are the mafic minerals, and these white ones, these are the your calcic feldspars. So as far as mineral composition of this rock is concerned, there are more mafic minerals than your felsic minerals, and the felsic to these white ones, they have latch shape and they are calcic feldspars. So the mineral identification of this sample is that it has your mafic and mafic, that is pyroxenes, that is greasy, right, plate shape, and your felsic minerals are as your plagioclase feldspars, and the texture is coarse grained. So this is a sample of the rock of Gabbro. Means rock Gabbro has your orthoclase and plagioclase feldspar, has your pyroxene, that too your clinopyroxene, that can be identified under microscope. In hand specimen we can't say whether they are clinopyroxenes or orthopyroxenes. So in general we say the pyroxenes plus your calcic feldspar, and the texture is coarse grained morphic. So this is your rock, your Gabbro. So we have to just visualize the percentage of light colored mineral and dark colored minerals. This is, you can see in general, the leucocratic rock. This is mesocratic to melanocratic. So on that it is your gabbro. Now the third sample, this one, this is of an, you can see very well these large ones, they are the phenocrysts. The white color, this large, this quartz, this is phenocryst. They are embedded in this ground mass, and overall resemblance of this texture is of your porphyritic. This is called porphyritic texture, and this texture is common to the hyperbasal rocks. Means these such rocks had at least two sites of crystallization. One where there was slow cooling, these large phenocrysts they developed. These large phenocrysts developed. Later on, that liquid along with this phenocryst was uplifted, and there it crystallized this liquid part as the fine grained. So this is, you can say, the porphyritic granite. This is porphyritic granite in the sense because the phenocryst and the ground mass are more or less quartzo-feldspathic, and because the texture is not, you can, pedomorphic, it is porphyritic. So this is porphyritic granite. The next sample here, this one, this is again a rock which is more towards the melanocratic, right? And the composition of this is mafic minerals plus your calcic feldspars and is fine grained, right? And this is a fine grained. So this is an volcanic rock, that is your basalt. Similarly, the basalts now also have the vesicular. Vesicular means in the volcanic rocks, or when there is an extrusive, you can see your lava, from that lava gases escape to the atmosphere and vesicles are formed. So in this sample, you can see these vesicles, these small vesicles. This is the vesicles. Because from these points, the gases have escaped to the atmosphere and cavities have formed. So such we call as the vesicular, and it's a basalt. So this is vesicular basalt. If these vesicles are filled by secondary mineral, right, or by some other even mineral, even or mineral, then we call that as the amygdaloidal basalt. Amygdaloidal. If cavities are empty, void, then it is called vesicular. Once they are filled up by secondary mineral or by minerals or minerals, then they are called amygdaloidal basalt. So this is amygdaloidal basalt. Now this one, this is a very typical rock type, just to being a different specimen. These are the number of wide. This is your pumice. Pumice means it has very wide spaces, the rock which can float on water, right? So this has number of wides, and due to this it has less specific gravity than water, and it floats on that. So this is just to give only the 6 samples today in this lecture, to just make or to make the things clear. Means once you say a rock, this is in is category of fine grained, this is in coarse grained, you can see this is porphyritic, right? So first of all, you should have an idea that which rocks or what sizes are in coarse grained, fine grained, and if it is a hyperbasal rock, it will have porphyritic nature. So at least from my today's lecture, if you can make out the porphyritic nature, now depending upon the number of phenocryst, for example, in this sample, this is we call as a porphyritic granite. So you should, I will make you understand in the next my video lecture, that what is the difference between granite, granite porphyry, porphyritic granite, porphyritic rhyolite, rhyolite porphyry, and rhyolite. These are the 6 textural variant of, you can say, your one, that is your granite. Because mineral composition of all these are same. Once again I repeat: granite, granite porphyry, porphyritic granite, porphyritic rhyolite, rhyolite porphyry, and porphyry. In all these 6, the mineral composition is, that is, quartz and orthoclase, but due to change or difference in the texture, these 6 different names are there. Similarly, in your, can say, gabbro porphyry, porphyritic gabbro, porphyritic basalt porphyry, like this. So these again are the textural variants. Now in this rock, say for example the granite which we call, this is coarse grained, this is epidomorphic textural, right? So suppose there is another rock which has this coarse grained and epidiomorphic texture, but as far as mineral composition is concerned, if it is quartz and orthoclase, it is granite. But if you identify feldspar as plagioclase, so that it will be your granodiorite. So there is not much difference between granodiorite and granite. All other parameters are same except the nature of the feldspar. In granite, the feldspar is orthoclase, whereas in your granodiorite, the feldspar is your plagioclase. And the plagioclase grains, you can see here, you can identify the plagioclase, they are in the lathe shape. So that will be granodiorite. So like this, there are minor differences in different rock types. Whether if there is a textural variant, the names just I told you, just like your granite porphyry, porphyritic granite, porphyritic rhyolite, rhyolite porphyry, and rhyolite. Similarly, with minor, for example, say your rock gabbro and norite. Now, gabbro and norite in hand specimen, they appear, just you can say it, what you sample is. Now, in this hand specimen, you cannot, in straight way, you should be very clear. In hand specimen, you cannot make it out whether it is a gabbro or norite. Because in gabbro or norite, there is only difference of the nature of the pyroxene. In norite, it is OPX, orthorhombic pyroxene, that is either hypasthene or anistetite, whereas in gabbro, it is clinopyroxene, diopside augite. So that you can make it out only under microscope when you study in thin section, and you really identify the different nature of the pyroxenes. So there is limitation in hand specimen to broadly categorize the rocks or broadly for the broad nomenclature. For detailed or exact, we go for the thin section. So this is all for this lecture, to acquaint you with the different textural and how the different rock types, they are named on the basis of texture and the mineral composition. In my next video, I will also try to will discuss you another series, or you can say set of rocks, how they appear in hand specimen and what are their different texture and mineral composition. Thank you very much.